All right, the door is closed, so I will begin. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in Portland. Before I introduce myself, I want you all to... it doesn't work. Wait. There we go. If everybody can stand up. And we have been here for 3 days now, so I think we should just stretch a little bit. And then we take the arms now. All right. Are you feeling okay? Perfect. Please have a seat. Oh, and right, and then it's a big thing now in Sweden to take selfies, so I just need to take a selfie here with you guys. Can you smile? Perfect. All right. And then we need to do the time thing, so I can just know how much I have been speaking. All right. So, introduction. My name is Pernilla. I was the community manager for a big startup called Neo4j, a very nice one. I'm from Sweden, as I told you, far, far away. I live in a city called Malmö, in the south of Sweden, very, very close to Copenhagen. It's very, very nice there, by the way. So if you are going, just ping me, and I will drink a coffee with you. When I was doing this presentation, I was asking myself a lot of questions. And it ended up being 3 questions. And those questions was, what is actually a community? How do you create a community? And what is a community for me? So this is my journey as a community manager, literally. And I can talk about all the cities I have been in, all the countries I have been in, how I have been flying around for 150 days and just traveling and be a representative for my company. But I want to talk about community and how I have been involved in communities my whole life. When I was 8, I was a part of this community. Of course, I was standing in the middle. Maybe I was already a community manager by then. It was Team Passion. We were traveling around in Sweden, competing, and had really much fun. And then I have been in communities like Geek Girl Meetup. I'm one of the organizers to bring more women into tech and discuss technology, web, and innovation. We are starting to be a pretty big community. And then I have been invited to different communities. I lived 1 year in Kenya and worked with a Maasai community. And it was really, really nice, and they actually asked me for help to make their community grow and to understand how they could work together. And then I have been volunteering a lot on different conferences. When I was in school, I volunteered in XP conference, Extreme Programming. And it was also, always the fun girl on the photos. But let's go back to 2012, because that was the year when I had all of this. I had my TV diploma. I had done my business project management diploma. I had been volunteering in Kenya for a year, and I was not done by then, I thought. So I took a bachelor in information and computer science. Because, you know, I always want to learn stuff. And I think that's the way of living. So work, I was ready to work. I was 27 years old, and I had been working in like grocery stores, shoe shops, and meeting people, connecting to people. But it was time to work for real, to have a real proper work for all my educations. So I was applying for every job that was fitting me in the work description. And I came to an interview where I was sitting with a recruiter, and she was asking me so many crazy questions. Where will you be in 5 years? How do you see that you can help us? I know they're not crazy, but they're still more like, what do you want to do with your life, she asked me. And I was answering the same answer all the time. Oh, I want to save the world with help of technology. And she was like, okay, Pernilla, you haven't answered that now 5 times, so no, I didn't get that job. But that opened my eyes, and I realized that how do I want to work? And what do I want to work with? And startup is not a common word in Sweden. I didn't know what a startup was in 2012. I've heard about it, but I actually didn't know what it was. So I was starting to read everything about Malmö, about all the companies, and to see how... Hello, Steve. To see how they were working and if I could suit them. And then I was seeing some entrepreneur, and he was doing pretty crazy stuff. So, and he had been earning a lot of money in something called startup. So I was more like, what the heck? Let's just send him a tweet. So I tweeted him. I'm like, you seems to be really awesome. How do I do to work with you? And he actually replied. And he's like the answer, he's like Richard Branson, but in Malmö. So he's like, everybody knows who he is. Everybody are talking about him. And we were starting to email each other. And after some emails, he was like, okay, let's meet for a coffee. I have 15 minutes, no more. So I was going there, and I was so nervous. I didn't know what to say. I was like, okay, I'm Pernilla. I want to save the world with technology. And I went there, and he was so nice. So he was just saying, I only have 15 minutes. He was very, very correct. And I met him. I was like, oh. After an hour, we were still continue discussing how we could save the world with help of technology. After 2 hours, we started to discuss what's my options. Where should I go? I have just graduated from my university. I have my bachelor. I know some computer stuff. I could either dig deeper and become a hardcore developer, or I can take all my skills together and try to do something else. So he was more like, okay, Pernilla, I have a pet project. Maybe you are interested. I was like, okay, maybe I am. Please tell me about it. He's like, I want all kids in Malmö, all 11-year-old kids in Malmö, to build a robot in Lego. And then I want them to compete with each other. And yeah, I want you to be the project manager over that. Do you think you can do that? But I can't give you any money, but maybe that will be fun. So I was meeting the group of people, and it was only entrepreneurs. They were like, we want to have more kids programming. We want to bring in more technology in schools and also make people interested. I was sitting there around the table, and all of them were like the smartest, the coolest people in Malmö, and they were dropping off one by one. So he had to cancel the project. But it didn't matter, because he introduced me to a guy called Peter Neubauer. And he was saying, hey, Peter, you must meet Pernilla. She's your next community manager. That will be the perfect fit for Neotechnology. And Peter looked at me and was like, so what do you know about community? And I was like, I run Geek Girl Meetup. And I was like, okay, done. So in October 2012, I got hired as Neotechnology's first community manager, which was an honor, actually. And what they did was that they were sending me to San Francisco. And Andreas here, I just need to point him out, he was putting me up on stage. He's like, now you have to introduce yourself for the Neo4j community and tell them how awesome you are. So I did. It was pretty strange, but I still did it. So I became a community manager in Neotechnology. And of course, I'm standing in the middle, representing the company. But Neo Technology was also something who had a product. And I was used to tables, I was used to joins, I was used to MySQL, and I didn't know anything about graph databases. So I just got a box, more or less. And when I opened the box, of course, it was love at first sight. And why do I say that? Because since I didn't know anything, I had to learn. And the learning curve for me was pretty hard in the beginning. But then I had met at Neo the most fantastic people. I met 50 Einsteins. I could ask them any question, anytime, and they would be nice, and they were trying to help me to understand the way of running a graph database. They gave me something, and they gave me the passion of a product. All of the people at Neo are living, and 24/7, they're working and they're having the product in mind. The product is also something that can be very cute because it looks nice when you know how to run it. And of course, it was a really, really big challenge for me. I'm, as you know, from Sweden and from Malmö. I now got the job to work worldwide and talk to people around the world, to meet different cultures and to meet different languages. And English is not my first language. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, just ask me to repeat it or just do something. So when I started, which tools did I got? Because there must be manager tools for community. And all communities in the tech world, more or less, are using, maybe as you know, meetup.com to make sure that the community are growing, to start up new groups, to help new members, to get involved. And also, I was working around meetup.com. Neo4j also had a mailing list. I was not so involved in that, but I was looking at it. They were trying to make sure that some of the questions went over to Stack Overflow. I was trying sometimes to answer the questions there, but they got harder and harder. And then it was GitHub, because everybody's using GitHub, right? So how is the question? I just need to sheet. How and why and when and where and what was I doing? I jumped. When I started Neo, I didn't know what I was expecting. I was jumping into a deep black hole, and I didn't know if I was going to die, or if I was going to survive, or if I was going to be a geek. Since I am already a geek, I was more like, yeah, okay, I think I found my people. And they also love Doctor Who, and they love cats. What else can I ask for good communities? I was trying to see in a worldwide perspective how a community was, especially in the tech world, because you have the alpha geeks, they don't care if things are hard. You have the normal geeks, they don't want to have things hard because they want to know directly. And how do you make them feel involved and loved? And still, even if something is hard, make them continuously working and make them successful. And I listened. I was trying to contact, and I was contacting more or less the whole community to reach out and say, hi, I'm Pernilla. I'm your new community manager. I don't know anything about graph databases yet, but I will make sure to help you out with everything you need to know. And I was there. I was there constantly. In the beginning, I was working 24/7. I couldn't stop feeling that I wanted to quit working. I just loved, and it was like meeting the man in my life, Neo. Became a person. I was totally in love. And what skills do I have, and why did I get this job? Because that's something that people might wonder. And that is, I have been running events more or less my whole life. I love events and I love people getting together and when they are happy. And I have the basics in technology. I have doing some coding, so I know some stuff. And I know how graph database works now. And I also love to communicate and talk to people. I don't care if they are alpha geeks or if they are princes or if they are the president or if they are the fashionista and the designer. I want to talk to everybody because I think everybody have their own story. And that is something that I really love. So I will say I have the soft skills. I love people. So back to we jumped to 2013 now. I have been at NEO for 3 months. It was time to me to show off. I knew how graph database was working, more or less. I was putting up a goal in the end of 2012 that I want to meet the whole community. So I asked my manager, Peter, Peter, can I go on a worldwide tour and meet the whole community? So actually I did. I was okay, I'm going around the world, I'm going to meet every single user group, I'm going to shake my hand with all the developers, and I'm going to be there because I want to see what the people are and how they look like. Do they look the same in Paris as in Japan or in India? I know they don't, but still. So I started my trip, and I started to the fantastic land here in the US. I started in Boston, and I was covering more or less the whole border around it. The dots are the places I went to, not the blue thing. But then something happened, and I had been at NEO for, like I said, 3 months. It was 5 months after I was done with the US. It took a while. And everything stopped for me. I got panic. I was feeling that I was not good enough, that I was worthless, that I didn't know anything. All the people I met were smarter, more handsome. They knew so much that I didn't know. I was working with 2 fantastic people, and they had 20 years experience of programming in deep, hardcore code. I didn't know what to give. I was like, what should I do? How can I do this? And I don't even know if I want to continue because this is really hard, and people might not even understand me because my English is so bad. So I was sitting there. I went home, and this is a picture by me. I came home and back to Sweden to my small apartment, sitting there with my cats. And I was like, what to do? What should I do? It's more I need to do something or I have to quit because either I have to fight or I have to leave. So I was getting up, I was standing up, and I would start fighting. And I think that when you know that you can do something, but you don't know why, you start to do everything. So, and then it was a change in the company. So from being a community manager, they actually put me as a developer evangelist because maybe I could more than I was thinking. So instead of organizing the meetups, I started to talk at the meetups. I started to be the star, to represent the graph. And I participated in hackathons. I went to a NASA hackathon to make a really weird project. And I was starting to making blog tutorials. I was more like, if I don't know how to do it, then maybe I can write a blog tutorial and I can use something old and make it new and make it look good. And then I was participating in all the competitions we had at NEO to make people feel that I'm actually working for NEO and I'm actually doing this competition, so you can do it too. It's not that hard. So what happened? People started thanking me. They were like, oh my God. So like, Michael, Pernilla, Edward, thanks for a great intro to NEO. it was a fantastic spending time with me. And we're like, people like to spend time with me. And I'm saving their lives. It's amazing. And it's also, I was nice. I was lending out my computer. I was more like, yeah, I trust you. You seems to be a nice guy. And it's also, people started to talk about Doctor Who, which was really fun. And then they were starting to write blog posts about me. They were like, oh, can we put your Twitter handle in this blog post? Because you are so cool. I was like, okay. And of course, thanking me. And then the different competitions, they were also putting the tags in. And then they even want to pick my brain. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And even if they couldn't participate by themselves, they were starting to spread and contribute in their own networks. They were like, I can't do this, but it's really awesome, so please help Pernilla. And they wanted to stand on the same stage as me. I was like, yeah, I'm starting to be good at this. And then they were taking care of the other corner of the galaxy. Really good. And contributing again, making sure that they networks they knew about Neo. And also I was starting to blogging, and a thing I did, I was both blogging for Neo, and then I started to run my own blog. And it was a newspaper or online magazine, a tech magazine, who was writing a very, very nice article about how the future will look in 2014. The only problem was they were talking to the experts, and the experts were only men. So when I read it, it was really interesting, but it was also, there are so many experts that are both genders. Why don't they have 50-50, or at least 4 women and 6 men? So instead of just screaming about it, I was doing something about it. So I was crowdsourcing over the weekend, and I reached out to all the expert women I knew in Sweden, and I asked them to predict the future in 2014. And I wrote a blog post as long as the article and posted it, and I was like, here you go, if you want to know what the females and the women think about the future in 2014. They're really smart too, you know. And people started to retweet it, and it got really big in Sweden because they were finally, they were apologizing. They were like, so sorry for just having men. We will be better. So I was very proud of her, standing up for the human race. And then, of course, blogging for Neo. And then I love goodies. I don't know if you have seen all the goodies, swags, giveaways, things here. I think I have been collecting more or less everything. I know all the coolest T-shirts. I know all the water bottles. Water bottles are big this year, and also the pillow. I was winning one in the prize draw. And I love goodies, and I love to give away stuff that I think are nice. So I was starting to make, for the organizers, they could win a hoodie if they did something for me. And then when I met people that meant something for me and made an impression of me, I was making T-shirts for them. So they were thanking me again on Twitter, showing me that, thank you for giving me something. And I'm like, thank you for being a part of my community and Neo. And then they tweeted pictures, and they were just happy. And it's more like they were actually showing the brand. And I finally got endorsed. I don't know if endorsed is the right word, but people, and actually one specific person, endorsed me at LinkedIn, and it was the founder of Neo. And to just see something when someone is writing something so nice to you, Pernilla is a fantastic sort of creative ideas. And I was so happy. It was more like I knew that when I was in the bottom earlier that year, I now was standing up and I knew my shit. So that takes us back to actually my questions again, and that is, what is a community, and how do you create a community, and what is a community for me? And that leads us to community. a group of people who have more or less the same interest or live in the same city. There is actually no good word for community in Swedish, so we actually call it community. But who is the best community manager then? Because it's like you need to have certain skills to be a community manager, and you need to be good at some stuff, and you need to know more or less everything. And I love comics. I love to read different comics, and especially Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, and my favorite, The Phantom. Me and my mom are collecting all these magazines, by the way. And are they good community managers? Because they want to save the world. They want to make people happy. They want to help people. They are strong. All of them have secret identities. And it's not something you can have if you are a community manager, because you are the person that people will either be pissed off at or very happy to see. So I started to go back and dig deeper, and I realized that I was reading comics when I was a kid too. And now there will be some Swedish ones, so you will learn more. But Donald Duck, everybody knows him, and he's not a good community manager because he's angry all the time. And Pippi Longstocking, you know about her? Good. She maybe have too many wild ideas, and she maybe is too wild. So then I realized that Pippi is very close to be the best community manager, but Bamse, the world's strongest bear, he is the best community manager. And Bamse is a bear. He is very nice. He have a friend, Little Jump. Little Jump is afraid of everything, but he's really, really loyal, and he's always standing by Bamse and his adventures. Bamse also have Shellman, and Shellman is the scientist. He's the one who invents this amazing stuff. But he also have this watch, where when it rings, he either have to sleep or eat. So when it's sleepy time, he can fall asleep whenever. And then we have the grandma, Bamse's grandma, who have been taking care of Bamse all her life, and she really loves him. Grandma have been also feeding Bamse with something called dunder honey. And when Bamse takes the honey, the dunder honey, and drinks it, he becomes the world's strongest bear. Grandma also has sidekicks. I will translate it for you. The cat Jansen and the little house mouse. And they always try to help Grandma with more or less success. We have the Richard Branson, and he's always mean to Bamse, actually. He always tries to use him and make him do stuff that Bamse don't want to. Even tries to kill him sometimes when he's not doing what he wants to. And then we have the wolf. The wolf, he always tries to kill Bamse, but he still loves to be around him and loves to hang out with him. And Bamse is trying to be nice to him, but then he have to tell him, no, we don't kill bears. And why do I say this? Why do I talk about Bamse and his friends? Because Bamse have some skills that a community manager should have. Bamse is the helper. He's also a solution maker. He's very nice to all of people. And he is a connector. Like you can see here, he's connected to everything. So instead of having Bamse, we're going to make an experiment. And that is, we put the community manager where Bamse is. The community manager have his or her team and best friends who's helping him out. He also have the person who are involved with a product and makes the product, make it successful if Bamse's dunder honey doesn't work. Same with the CTO and his project. The CTO also have sidekicks who helps him out, and that is the engineers and the programmers. The CEO and the COO, they are trying to run a company and trying to be successful and trying to save a lot of money. So, yes. And then we have the wolf, and that's the enemy. Because even if the competitors are fantastic, they always want to kill you, right? But you still hang out with them, and you're still nice, but then you tell them, no, 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 we don't kill the graph database. So then I made a nice graph of this just to show you that I know how a graph works. So what can we learn from Bamse? And this is actually really, really important because back in earlier last year, when I got back from the US, I realized some things that are really important. And that is, you don't have to be the smartest. There are always people that will be smarter than you. You don't have to be the nicest. There will always be people that are nicer than you and people that might have the perfect people skill. You can be nice, but you don't have to be the nicest. If you're tired, just walk away. Be an introvert. You don't have to be the bravest because there will always be people that are braver than you. And you don't have to be the creator because if you work as a community manager, you work to make sure that people love the product. People are using the product. People want to be a part of the community, and you want them to be successful. There is someone else who is creator and creates the product. So the things that you must do is you need to be a connector to be a good community manager. You need to be able to talk to everyone, even if you don't like it. You need to be an inspiration, and you need to show people that they should use what you have. You need to help them and make sure that if they are in trouble, they need help. Help them, make them successful, make them an evangelist by themselves. And you need to be the spider. I don't know if you know, it's a thing we say in Sweden. If you're the spider, you are connected to everything. So you make sure that everything is working. So, lesson learned. And I got some quotes that I really, really like and want to share with you. And some of them are good. All of them actually good. And Sir Richard Branson, one of my biggest idols, I'm a big fan of him. He is saying, do not be embarrassed by your failures. Learn from them and start again. It's okay to fail as long as you stand up, you try again, and you try again, and you try again until you be successful. Be the kind of person that you want to meet. You don't want to meet rude people. You don't want to meet people that don't say anything. Make sure that you are the kind of person that you want to meet. And then it's a really good one. I love this one. Your life is your message to the world. Make sure it's inspiring. Before I'm ending my talk, I also want to show you my fantastic t-shirt. It says, do it yourself because no one else will. And that is so true. If you don't stand up for yourself and be the inspiration in your life, you will be having a pretty boring life. So that was all I had to say today. And I also want to say, I'm looking for new challenges. And if you can challenge me, please come by. And of course, I already put my slides up on SlideShare. So if you want to go in there, steal them, make a community manager presentation, you're free to go. Thank you very much. Is there any questions?
You talked a lot about some of the awesome things about being a community manager, about meeting all these wonderful people. I'm just curious about the other side of it. What are some of the terrible things about it?
I think one thing I had a problem with in the beginning was that I was feeling that people were judging me for being a girl. I didn't know how to dress and how to act because people got nervous when I got in the room because I was the only girl. So I got like stupid comments, like people wanted to marry me. People were asking me why I was doing this, why I was doing computer science and not fashion and design. And I was feeling judged all the time. But I think when I realized that it doesn't matter what other people think, you just have to deal with it. And if they're stupid, then I can just go to my manager. Because I was always supported by my management. Other questions?
Did you have specific metrics that the success of your role was tied to? So did your boss say, accomplish X, Y, and Z, or how did you decide what?
Both yes and no. We had metrics where we were checking out the social media and where we were checking out meetup.com, how it was working. But I didn't have any specific metrics by myself, no.
How did the men's 2014 predictions differ from the women's 2014 predictions?
What is 24, what?
You mentioned the 2014 predictions for the future.
Oh, no, they were almost the same. Yeah. So that was the thing, that the women were as deep, hardcore developers as the men. And they were just lazy. That was the thing. They were asking the people they knew already. They didn't want to reach out to new networks.
Has the meetup changed at all as far as being involved in development communities? Is there more interest in meetup now or less interest?
There are more interest in meetups, but it's also because the marketing and the sales team have been using it. But I was always fighting with the sales guys because you don't go and settle on the meetup. You get to know your community instead. So yes, the sales guys were using meetup and the marketing, but they always had to be nice and not selly.
Problems that I've always faced is when you're being a developer of angels, you're trying to manage the community and teach people as a team to work together. When you're trying to enable people to be successful with your product, the huge variance between beginner and expert and trying to support them all, sometimes you run into adoption blockers or problems. What kind of challenges did you face in that same situation? How did you overcome them?
I was thinking that if everybody knows the basics, then they can start help each other. So what I did, more or less, was that I was showing people the basics, and then I was making sure that the community were connecting together. And then I had Michael, the developer evangelist, who knows everyone and could help them out. So it was more like trying to make the community contribute to each other. And that's, if you look at the mailing list at NEO, people are going in and helping each other there. Yes?
Obviously, NEO is a great company and providing a great product. But is that a crucial feature for your job?
That they are making a...
As a community manager, or can you, as a community manager, serve for any company with any arbitrary product?
Both yes and no. Yes, I can be a community manager for everything. But I also think that if I don't have the passion for what people are doing and trying to teach me, I would never be able to do that. I need a dunder honey, yes. So it's good, now you know about Bamse. There is actually a YouTube video, if you want to check Bamse, where they have been translating the first part of it. If you have kids, I think probably it's really funny. Other questions? No? All right, then I say thank you again.